Good Saturday evening, South Mississippi. Meteorologist Heather Graham here, joining you from the nice warm newsroom, and hopefully you are watching from a warm place this evening because it is extremely cold outside. It wasn't long after the sunset we dropped below freezing across the coast, and we are going to stay below freezing the entire night. Not only that, many of us tomorrow morning are going to be seeing temperatures dropping into the teens. So let's take a look at the forecast throughout the rest of the night. It's definitely going to be a cold one. Not only has it been cold tonight, but it's still pretty windy outside. It's not until after midnight that I expect the wind to die down a little bit more. We're still going to keep a little bit of a breeze in place tomorrow morning, but doesn't look as windy as what we're seeing right now, nor what we had earlier today. In fact, earlier today we had some wind gusts near 40 miles per hour. Thankfully, the wind is not going to be that strong overnight tonight. But by tomorrow morning before the sunrise, there's a good chance we are going to be seeing actual temperatures in the upper teens. With us getting that cold, highly recommend letting your faucets drip overnight tonight. Open up your cabinets, and hopefully you've already wrapped up some exposed pipes as well. And it should be obvious, but with it getting this cold tonight, people will need to stay protected, stay warm, bring your pets inside, and of course, plants need to be protected as well. So starting off in the morning, we are looking at temperatures in the teens. That means we could be setting a new record low for at least February 1st. So we kick off the new month tomorrow, and we are kicking it off with some cold weather. We checked the record low in Gulfport is at 23. So if we get into the upper teens, we're going to be breaking that record by about 3 or 4 degrees or so. Biloxi record at 24, and Moss Point, the record is at 32. The reason why it's so much higher is because we just don't have nearly as much data to go back on at the Trent Lott Airport. But there's a very good chance we are going to be setting some new record lows for February 1st. Come tomorrow morning, or even later tonight. But again, tomorrow morning, that's when we expect those temperatures to be in the teens. So if you're up near the sunrise tomorrow, bundle up. It is going to be so cold, and it's already really cold outside at this point. We are expecting temperatures in the teens, maybe a few low 20s across the coast. So people, pets, plants, and pipes will need to be protected. For the time being, we are seeing the wind chill in the teens. We likely will continue to see the wind chill in the lower teens by early Sunday morning. Again, the wind is going to be a little bit calmer by Sunday morning. We'll still keep a bit of a breeze, but it's not going to be as windy to kick off our Sunday. So we've got one nice thing going for us. Looks like the 9 o'clock update just came in Gulfport. Now we are sitting at 26 with a wind chill of 14. I also want to point out too, the air is extremely dry. We have dew points this evening in the single digits. It's not very often that we get this dry of air here in South Mississippi. If you're prone to getting dry skin, which I know I am, you may need a little extra moisturizer or lotion. You may need some chapstick. It's, again, not very common that we see dew points this low in South Mississippi. So just something to be mindful of as we head into Sunday. So temperatures right now, well into the 20s. We are at 24 in Poplarville, 25 in Wiggins. We're seeing some upper 20s all along the coast. I don't even see any 30s at this point, and it's only, this is as of 8:30. So as you can imagine, we have a lot of darkness to get through, and we will continue to see temperatures plummet overnight tonight. So let's take a look at temperatures across the southeast, mainly across Mississippi and Alabama. They are in the teens and 20s as well. 29 already over in New Orleans. That's pretty impressive. We've got 27 in Mobile, 27 in Pensacola. We have dropped into the low 20s across the Pine Belt up into Hattiesburg. And of course, it's been very windy. So the wind chill, even along the Gulf Coast, in the teens at this point. We are seeing some wind chills in the single digits to our east. Looks like Atlanta right now, we've got a wind chill of 2. So this Arctic blast definitely taking grip across the southeast this weekend. No doubt about that. So the setup right now, we've got a strong area of low pressure across the East Coast. That's bringing quite a bit of snow to parts of the Carolinas right now. We can see that on radar with that blue color. Lots of snow. It looks like in North Carolina, that's now moving into parts of Virginia. Still seeing a little bit of that lingering snow, it looks like, across coastal Georgia. Now for us, we have this area of high pressure that's going to be moving closer to us, but we are kind of sandwiched in between this area of low pressure and the area of high pressure to our west. So we have what we call a very strong pressure gradient. So the pressure changes quite a bit over a short distance, and that area of low pressure is pretty strong to our east. So this is the reason why we've got such a strong wind coming out of the north. Around an area of high pressure, we get clockwise flow. Around an area of low pressure, we get counterclockwise flow, and because we are in between those two systems, that's why we're getting that wind out of the north. And with the wind out of the north, especially during the winter months, that's drawing in that much colder air. But as an area of high pressure gets closer to us, we'll start to see the wind die down a little bit more. I want to point out too that South Florida is going to be getting in on this cold air as well. Wind chill in Miami still at 52, but they are expected to see actual temperatures getting into the 30s later tonight, which is not very common for South Florida. We've got a wind chill of 15 in Jacksonville. It's funny, our wind chill in Gulfport actually lower than what they're seeing right now in Memphis, and that's just because the wind is stronger right now across the coast. At least it's not as cold as what they're dealing with up in the New England area, where they have wind chills in the single digits and even close to zero. But we have freeze warnings that have expanded into parts of South Florida, in addition to some of those extreme cold warnings. So, like I said, this cold blast really making an impact across the deep south, and it's not very often that we can see temperatures getting into the 20s and 30s across the Florida peninsula. I'm sure that's definitely a shock to their system. It's just not very common. And even for us, it's really, really cold with these temperatures dropping into the teens overnight tonight. I think a lot of us can agree that the wind has been just kind of insult to injury with this cold weather. So it's still going to be pretty breezy this evening. Once we get past midnight, we'll start to see the wind die down a little bit more. Does not go away completely, but we're more so looking at wind gusts near 10 to 15 miles per hour. A little bit more tolerable, I would say, than some of those wind gusts near 30 to 40 miles per hour that we had earlier today. A small craft advisory will remain in effect overnight tonight after midnight and lasting throughout much of the day on Sunday, so a heads up there. But at least over land, the wind not going to be nearly as strong tomorrow. And even though tomorrow's still going to be very chilly, not a bad day as a whole. Temperatures are just going to be well below normal. We're looking at highs tomorrow getting into the low to mid 40s. I know we have 2 parades going on across the coast tomorrow, mainly in the afternoon, but I know people starting to gather for the Biloxi Parade beginning at 11 o'clock. That's lasting until the early afternoon. That will be at Point Cadet tomorrow. And we also have the parade going on in Louisiana. That begins at 1 o'clock as well. It's going to be chilly, no doubt about that, but at least we've got some sunshine, and it's not going to be nearly as windy tomorrow. We're keeping just a little bit of a breeze out of the north and northwest. Now, as we get into Sunday night into Monday morning, we are looking at a hard freeze once again. Temperatures likely going to be in the mid to upper 20s by Monday morning. It will be another morning where pipes will need to be protected. But by Tuesday morning, temperatures, at least along the coast, likely going to stay above freezing. And check out how much warmer by Wednesday morning it's going to be. At that time, we will be well above freezing with lows in the 40s. We are looking at another cold front moving in by the end of Wednesday and into Thursday. This does not look like an Arctic blast at this point, but we do have a chance of seeing temperatures close to freezing again by the end of the week. That being said, nowhere near as cold as what we're seeing right now. High temperatures this upcoming week are really going to be peaking by about Tuesday with highs in the 60s, which is very close to normal for this time of the year. So the first day, 2 days of February, pretty chilly, but by Monday, not bad. We expect some sunshine, temperatures in the mid 50s. That's really not too bad at all, fairly comfortable. Now we are going to be a little bit cooler by Thursday of this upcoming week, but temperatures staying in the low 50s. I think a lot of us can handle that. And it does look like heading into this upcoming weekend, things are going to be pretty mild once again with those temperatures climbing back into the 60s. But tonight, And tomorrow night, still going to be very, very cold. That's why we have those alert tags here, especially tonight with temperatures, not the wind chill, temperatures getting into the teens early in the morning. We're only getting into the mid 40s tomorrow afternoon. Those parades, though, in pretty good shape in terms of the wind. And we do expect to see a good bit of sunshine. Really, the only chance for rain that I'm seeing this upcoming week is on Wednesday. That more so could be in the morning as this cold front gets closer to us. We are going to be cooling down a little bit more by Thursday and Friday, but already looking ahead to this upcoming weekend, not bad. Temperatures are going to be back into the 60s as far as we can tell. So time now is 9:05. We will be having our 10 o'clock newscast coming up in a little less than an hour on WLOX. Hope you join us there. I've got more information on our very cold weekend forecast. Plus, we'll have all the latest news going on in South Mississippi.